it just for you, I just wanted to know.
Uh-huh.
I'm not that ready to time to listen to the meeting, but
You could certainly do that, because all he's doing is babysitting.
Yeah, he could actually
I
listen to
never
the
thought of
meeting,
that.
you know, he could. He chooses not to. It's easier for him to ask things later.
Well, at least it's not. Oh gosh, where are we? Okay, we can play cards here.
After you
Menace.
Yeah, 9 o'clock, I got a conflict.
Oh.
It's 8:30, can we start?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Ed.
Morning. The first thing on our agenda is to acknowledge minutes, and we have minutes from April 19th, 21st, 6th, and 28th. We have a motion to approval.
So moved.
Moved by Dresch,
Second.
second by Hamilton. Any discussion? All in favor?
Hi.
Okay. Scott, are you on there?
No, Scott is not with us yet.
Okay. Let's go to number 2, discuss and consider appointments to county committees and commissions. All right, I just put this on here as a point of, we need to start thinking and planning. So I highlighted, and I know Darren's got it when people quit hopping on here to show on the screen. But just going through here, we have 1, 2, 3 appointments that are up in Board of Health in December of 21. We have 1 that is up on Civil Service Commission, 10/7. We have 1 that's up on County Conservation in December. Historical Preservation, we have 1, 2 that were up in December of 20, and we have 2 that are up on August 31st, 21. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4. So those we need to think of sooner than later. So I guess welcome any input. Susie, if you want to get some ideas.
We also have Board of Health, 2 people that are due at the end of the year for the Board of Health. In December, we also have
Yeah,
one person from the civil service that needs to be done in October. We have several actually.
county conservation has one, historical preservation has 4. Jefferson County Progressive Housing has one in September 29th. And Veterans Affairs has one June 30th.
Right, and I think the ones that are up June 30th, which we have 3 of those, and the 2 that are past due are the ones we should be focusing
Right,
on at this point, as far as whether people want to renew again. The Veterans Affairs is a 3-year position on that board. Historical preservation, those are 3-year position spots.
so yeah,
Yeah. So I don't know whether we want to find new people or start by asking the ones that are currently holding those positions if they would like to continue on with them.
we ever,
I know that with the 2 that are up on the preservation, one has said they wouldn't unless the county got itself back on.
And we are
with the
working on that.
commission, and we're working on that. The other one, I am not sure whether they want to continue or not. I haven't talked to Mr. Schaefer yet. And then I think if we ask Ray Chambers to speak to, who is it, Paul Corbin, for the Veterans Affairs,
right,
that would be the direction to move.
yeah, I just wanted to bring this up so you can start thinking about it and if that's some ideas.
Right, and I think that on the Jefferson County Progressive Housing, I don't believe Dick wants to continue on that. I don't know that for certain. I heard that, but it's worth at least a conversation to find out if that's the case.
I can ask him.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it sounds like we'll have some ideas on these too, Susie, coming up.
Right.
So, all right, we can move on. That was just to bring it up that we need to get that on our radar because it's going to be here before we know it.
Okay.
Okay, Scott, welcome.
Hello. Let's see. No rain so far this morning. The crews did hitting of gravel roads and dirt roads, blading for dust control. We got 5,000 gallons of spray in for working on Walton Road that the city shares in the cost of. And I mean, that's just something that's been done for several years. If the county board's perfectly fine with continuing that, then we'll do that this time as well. There were some culverts that a pipe, well, one of the culverts replaced or repaired. One of them was a pipe that washed out because it had holes in the bottom of it on Unicorn south of Glasgow. So that was replaced. They've been doing edge rut repair on Libertyville Road, north of Fairfield to the county line. I'm sorry, Libertyville Road, and yeah, from Fairfield to the county. So equipment maintenance, service and repairs to those various pieces of equipment. And of course, we're into mowing of the satellite buildings and the backyard. And we haven't started mowing shoulders yet, but we soon will be.
How's the data entries going for the paperwork?
For projects.
Projects.
As far as
Closeouts.
closeouts.
Yeah. I need to deliver some more information.
Can you give us a detailed report next week, please?
Okay.
Right. The last I was told was April 6th was the last time that was anything was entered into the DOT system. They told me that there are 3 projects still out there. I think 2 of them are bridge projects that are going on right now.
Yeah.
And there really hasn't been much of anything put in.
That's because the contractor hasn't even started on
Okay.
those. This week, the contractor sent, probably even last week, the contractor sent a request to get paid for the stockpiling of the steel H-pile. And since they haven't started on our job and don't have bulletin boards put up, they probably have to stockpile it on one of the other sites that has the bulletin boards up. So it makes a difference in whether we would pay them for 100% of the cost or 90% of the cost. And Jeff Fadden has inquired of the contractor the more details that would allow us to determine how much they could be paid. And I haven't gotten a response back from him, and I haven't heard of Jeff getting a response back. So that's something we're tracking. That would be on the 275th Street project. And until the contractor gets closer to getting ready to start on those, on one or the other projects, I'd say the 257th would be the one to start on this construction season. Well, when they get to where they are going to need to start on that, then we'll have a pre-construction meeting. It have to most likely be online, and then that project will get underway, and the other one isn't really scheduled to start at this point. They can start either of these at any time, but they've talked about starting the other one on 146 Boulevard in the spring. I mean, they have to start by April, but they talked about starting in March.
On that 2022.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's not much that can be done with those.
Okay.
So I have to get with Jeff Fadden this week about all the, what's undone and on all the materials that we have that can be input. And they'll input those.
Okay.
And I can get a better idea from him how that's all going to proceed.
Okay.
And the only other thing on my list is they've been rock hauling for dust control. We've got about 97 dust control permits in. And they did deer removals from the roads.
Okay.
And we do have these 2 contracts to sign.
I just left some in your box.
Yeah, the ones that you
This is a project that's already been approved by the board, so just need to.
You need all 3 of us to sign this one?
No, it's just the chair, and then the contractor will sign it, and then we'll keep one happy and I'll keep the other.
Mhm.
Okay.
Is it all place? I think there's just one place to sign.
Yeah, the other one's in your box.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Discuss and consider engagement letter 15A, development agreement with Olive and Cooney. And I sent this like a week ago Friday, so this is what we've talked about last week and then initially. So,
Here's your, I have the letter up, so go ahead and work yourself through it.
if anybody wants to look at it, it's just a standard engagement agreement to disclose and memorialize the terms with Allers and Cooney, PC. The Code of Iowa 15A and related code provisions. So what they would do is draft development agreement for the county for terms provided by the county, prepare proceedings to be used for setting the date of a public hearing on the development agreement, answer questions and advise county staff and board of supervisors. Any other work related to the adoption of the development agreement. So, pretty standard. Things that we can do is provide them legal descriptions to be used. And they will also be defending any legal challenges arising out of the development agreement, acting in financial advisory role or any bond finance related services. It's not anticipated that they will need to personally attend board meetings in order to accomplish their work. Be coordinating services with us and the other county staff as directed by the county. In the event that public hearings or litigation should occur in the course of this matter, they would expect the same to be handled by the county attorney unless special arrangements are made for their participation. So it's pretty much for them to develop the agreement as we've talked about with Bovard. And that has to be done with the Code of Iowa. Certain things have to be considered.
Do you want to talk about the section covering fees?
Well, it's got their current hourly rates. As we talked about last week, the bottom line is going to be approximately probably $2,500 to $5,000. Their individual fees, it's an hourly rate. Nathan Overberg's is $310 per hour. Ms. Bishop's rate is $210, and the legal assistance rate is $125. So.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I was showing what we were discussing here on screen as we were going through and making sure that the public had enough to look each other over.
And it's nice that you're able to put that on the screen. Thank you. Okay. Do we want to proceed with this?
Yes, I would like to see us move forward with this. I would make a motion that we approve this agreement with Ehlers and Cooney.
Okay, I'll second it. So motion by Hamilton, second by Sandquist. To approve the engagement letter development agreement with Allers and Cooney. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, discuss local public health pandemic response. Chris, good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay, Dee?
We can.
Okay. Hi, good morning, everyone. Let's see. I just have a couple little notes here I just want to share with everyone. So first of all, my throat's a little scratchy. No, I don't have COVID. I've been outside all weekend, so fresh air is a good thing. I just want to give you some data for the county. This is for Jefferson County specific, and this would be individuals with a Jefferson County address. So regardless of where they received their vaccine, it would be counted in our numbers, okay? So for the good of the order, the total of completely vaccinated individuals, whether it's a 2-dose vaccine or just a single dose Johnson & Johnson, we're at 29.1%. So about a third. And I'm going to share this later, and I shared this last week. So the numbers have changed a little bit. So we have about 48% of the 65 and older population that's been vaccinated. For the 50 to 64 age group, we have about 22.66 vaccinated. 18 to 49, we have 28.43, which I'm kind of surprised I'm surprised those numbers aren't reversed. I'm surprised it's not the older population having a higher number than the younger population, but
What's that one again, Chris?
I'm sorry, which one?
The 18 to 49?
It's 28.4%, which, like I said, I'm surprised it's not reversed with the other age group, which it makes me happy that they're getting the vaccine though. And then the 0 to 17 is only 0.83%. But you have to remember there's only one vaccine that is indicated for right now for 16 and older, which is Pfizer. And we've not received Pfizer here at the health department, nor will we because of the way it comes shipped. So that's a little bit of a barrier. I know that Hy-Vee has had Pfizer, New Cara has had Pfizer, and then there was a big Pfizer clinic at New Cara in April. So that makes it a little bit difficult. I did reach out to our state partners to see if we could get a smaller allocation to work with the hospital, with the pediatrician, and the state said no. The smallest amount that we could receive would be, I think it was like 425, which is still way too much vaccine to be shipped to a small rural community like this. So that's where we're at right now. I was just on the state's website, and those are the current numbers. Now there's a little bit of a delay because people may have received a vaccine, and then there's a little bit of delay getting that entered into that into the IRIS system, which is the immunization registry. So there could be a little bit of a delay. Excuse me. We're having a Johnson & Johnson clinic on Friday. That clinic was originally scheduled on a Wednesday. The day before that clinic was to be held, that on a Tuesday, that's when Johnson & Johnson was paused. But that clinic was totally full. We had 135 people signed up for that clinic that day before it was, or that day after that pause happened. So we had to call all those folks. So today, as of just a little bit ago, I was getting some info before I got on this call. We have 35 of those 130 appointments filled for Friday. That's all we have filled. So that doesn't surprise me. That's just another layer of vaccine hesitancy. And when you look at the potential side effects of any vaccine or any medication, yes, it's unfortunate that happened to those individuals, but there's always risks with everything. And when you look at the millions of doses that have been administered and less than 20 people have had problems, most of which are women, most of which are of childbearing years. So it leads me to believe as a nurse, I said this from the beginning, is probably some type of birth control or a hormonal type of therapy issue, in addition to maybe they smoke, because you're at high risk for those two activities to develop clots anyway. So I don't know, that's above my pay grade. That's what all those smart folks at the CDC are looking at, but I'm glad that the pause has been lifted. Excuse me, our 3 pharmacies, New Cara, Hy-Vee, and Walmart, continue to receive allocations of vaccine through the federal pharmacy program. Now, this is the part that people get really angry about when they call us. They expect local public health to know what these pharmacies are getting. We have no way to know. The state doesn't even know. So when people call and are complaining to us about it, we have no way to know. So we tell them, we give them the number of the pharmacies and they can call because it changes, you know. I know that they're still receiving vaccine. There's plenty of vaccine in our community. Now, Summit Pharmacy is not part of that federal pharmacy program. So they receive allocation of Moderna vaccine from the health department, as does Jefferson County Health Center. So Jefferson County Health Center and Summit still receive part of our weekly allocation, which remains at 300 doses of Moderna vaccine. With that being said, I know that the hospital they're not ready yet, but they're looking to transition to offer vaccine in a different way versus having specific COVID vaccination clinics. They're looking at the possibility of offering it, at point of care. That's for them to release. They're not to that point yet, but that's been in discussions. That's just a high level release of information. So which would make it easier for people when they're, seeing their provider, they could get the vaccine just like they do, pneumonia or, any other vaccine. Brian from Summit, I talk to him every week, and I either talk to Curtis or Stacy from the hospital. They have seen a significant decrease in the demand as well. So you guys have probably heard on the news that we have requested reallocation with some of our doses because up until last week, we were still having the 80% burn rate. So we could not receive vaccine unless it was going to be injected in that next 7 days, because then it would negatively impact our next shipment. So that finally went away. So that's good. I did reach out to my Board of Health. And keep in mind, we've been doing vaccines since the week of Christmas, and we are transitioning. Friday is going to be our last clinic here at the health department because there's plenty of other options in the community to receive the same vaccine. Pharmacies are still offering it, and we at the health department have been dealing with COVID-19 since November of 2019. And there are lots of things that we need to take back and focus on and move forward with. Now, this response is not over, but you don't have to go to a health department to receive a vaccine. Now, if things change and there's a big demand for vaccine again, or we see that we need to, offer something differently, we can go back and revisit that. But right now, Friday's our last clinic. So we need to go back to our regular immunization clinics for kids and do some other things. And I'll talk about that here in a minute. I will say that Brett Farrell and Stacy Worley from the hospital and I have been meeting. We are working on what they call an AAR, which is an after action report. Even though we're still in the response, we are gathering data and trying to come together, the three of us first, and then reach out to all the community partners that were involved. And everybody played a role at a different time. So there's going to be certain parts of this response and the after action report that I'm not a big person to go to a meeting just to go to a meeting. I want the meeting to be specific for that demographics of population or that business or industry, because nobody wants to sit through a meeting that doesn't pertain to them. So we're looking to how to best roll that out. And then we will have a big Zoom meeting at the end of it. And then everybody will give input. We already know that communication is an issue. It's something that I've struggled with, getting information from the state. I can't control what's given to me. I mean, I give out the information as soon as I get it. But that's been an issue. I'm working on some questions to send to like our nursing home partners and our school partners so I can do like a Survey Monkey and just get some feedback on that. So that's, excuse me, that's going to take a little bit to get to that point. I know the state's looking at their own after action report too, even though we're still in the response. We continue to participate in, we were sitting in on Zoom meetings twice a week with the state on Tuesdays and Fridays, and then they've gone to every other Tuesday and every Friday. Well, now we're finally going to every Tuesday. It's still painful, but at least we're going to every Tuesday. So one is every other week. One is specific for basically the epidemiology component of the response. We talked to Dr. Mike Pintello, the director of the State Hygienic Lab, and the science part of the response. And then on the opposite Tuesday, it's all about vaccine distribution, allocation, and trying to get the masses vaccinated. So our schedule's changed a little bit with the state. I'm sure that you guys have seen on the news, and I haven't seen this exactly since Friday. I know that I heard it over the weekend, but that there's a potential travel ban to and from India. I think it's Tuesday. I got to do some more research. I've not gotten an actual email from the state or anything, but we know that that will impact our community in some capacity. Any community that has a college will be impacted. It's or a very diverse community is going to notice a change. Rest assured that we have have had constant communication with Vina. She's the campus nurse at MIU. We've had constant communication with her throughout this pandemic. So I just wanted to put that out there. If anybody's heard that, yes, indeed, we're aware of that and we're in the loop with that, so to speak. Excuse me. I will say a couple things on a happy note, even though we're in the middle of this response. Tammy and Michelle were able to go to a 4-day training for car seat. They're not called inspectors. They're like car seat educators. So they are certified in car seat education and assistance. I'll be doing a press release on that. I don't know, sometime this week probably. So it's a 4-day, all-day training, and that was pretty intensive. So if anybody's dealt with a car seat lately, you have to be an engineer and, I don't know, a contortionist to kind of figure out how to get your kid in a 5-point restraint. But anyway, there's more training coming this summer, and Michelle told me about this. It's for, it would be focused on individuals with special needs. So we think about, quote, kids getting in and out of a car seat, but you don't realize the complexities of that if your child maybe has cerebral palsy or has another issue with mobility, and then trying to be compliant with getting them in and out of a car seat. So that's a 2-day training in August. So I'm excited to move forward and offer that service. Deb's going to go out and do an assessment today on an individual for potential respite care, meaning it's basically adult companion services while their 24-hour caregiver gets a break and goes and does some of their own appointments, etc. So that is a quick overview. I know that we're going to be everybody in this department is going to be taking some days off, which is well deserved. So that is, I think that's all my notes. Do you guys have any questions or comments or?
No, but I know you've been working on getting this respite care for a while, and I just want to reiterate that is a great opportunity for anyone who's either caring for an aging parent or a spouse that requires 24/7 care. It's important to everybody to take care of themselves too. So it's a really good resource to have that available.
Thanks, Dee. It really is. And we've been kind of struggling with that because we started doing it, providing respite care like a few months before the pandemic hit. Well, then our staff got pulled to do other things, pandemic related. So sorry, the phone's ringing. Let me mute it. So yes, it's very important. It's very important. And if you don't have, you know, when you think about the demographics of folks that need assistance, a lot of times their friends are the same age that they are. So they are maybe not in the best health to offer that assistance to their friends either. And a lot of times we're very mobile and our kids don't live close, or our kids are all working. So I think it's a great service. It's a max of 2 hours at a time. And one of our nursing assistants goes and provides that respite service. And it's cash. I think it's 25. We changed the price. So it's $25 an hour. And that obviously doesn't cover our cost as an agency, but it's a service to our community versus a money-making program. So I think it's important to realize that. So thank you for that.
Another target for the car seat program is grandparents.
I know. That's exactly right, Dee. I know when I have my grandsons, well, I haven't taken the baby anywhere. I haven't taken Drew anywhere, but when I take Jameson someplace, I just take my daughter's car. It's like we're switching vehicles because I don't want to have to deal with it because it's like unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, car seats are a lot different than the car seats of my kids' generation. So
yeah.
Anyway,
Right.
we'll be doing some more stuff with that. I don't know. We might do something at the fair. I don't know. We don't know yet. So anyway, anything else for me? Oh, and then Dee, you can probably, we still do stuff with the safety committee and other committees that we're working on, but that's all I have right now, unless anybody has any questions.
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks you guys very much.
Okay, committee reports. Darren, Susie?
I have no reports.
I have no reports either.
I met with the sustainability group last week, so continuing on listening there. Friday had the meeting with the ISAC work group about the American Rescue Plan. Really very little details. I was kind of disappointed. I thought they'd have more information than they did. The important message is that all counties have a SAM number and a DUN number, which has to do with receiving federal funding. And apparently, Melissa, I know you're on because I have asked this. We have the DUN number, and I think, Scott, you guys have the SAM?
No, I hadn't even ever heard of.
Because the auditor thought that there was one in the roads department. So Melissa, let's get that information to Scott. We do need to get our own. Okay, good. Because it's important we get those numbers so that we can receive federal funding. And I know we have part of that done because when we got that CDBG grant last year for food insecurity, we needed to make sure we had part of that, but this requires some more, so.
We used the DUNS number when we did the last field. Yeah, it said nothing. I mean, is a SAM grant or have something to do with COVID?
I do not know. It's an SAM registration, but we'll follow up then with the auditor's office. All I know is it's important and they thought you had it, so we'll let them know that you don't.
They thought maybe road departments have it, but there's like 16 or 17 counties that don't have a record of the SAM number.
Okay,
And so I've not seen anything come through the road department saying, here's your number, or here's a number you need to get, or anything like that.
okay, good to know. Thank you, appreciate it. Public comments. Do we have any public comments? No? Okay. I'll allow claims and approve reports. We have a motion by Dresch,
Second.
second by Hamilton, all in favor.
Aye.
Discuss and consider nuisance properties.
Yeah, I've worked on trying to get things straight so that we can have this money placed onto people's taxes. A week ago, we agreed to 2.5% interest. We need to, as a board, authorize that the county treasurer go ahead and place the amounts on the appropriate taxable people for those. One property will have the taxes spread out over a 10-year time period. That begins with when they send out the notice in August of for your September taxes. And Mark will go ahead and do that with our blessing.
So
The other property, the one in Linby, we have not heard anything at all from that person. And so the entire bill will be placed on their taxes this coming September, and they will have to pay it at that point in time, or the property would go to a tax sale whenever that would happen or be scheduled. So the third property that we've cleaned up, we haven't seen anything back from Russ as far as the bill from the contractor showing us what was made and what wasn't when it comes to taking stuff to be metal recycled or sold as scrap, I guess. And once that comes through, we will do that. We have made contact with that property owner again because they have brought in a bunch of vehicles, a camper, other things out in the front yard of the place. They went, knocked on the door. The person was home but did not answer the door. So now they're going to follow up with a letter, and we'll begin the process again of returning that person to court to be refined. The second time around, the fine will be $1,000. If we go completely through the process, if they get rid of everything that's out there again now, then we wouldn't have to move forward with that. But I don't see that happening with this particular person. So, especially with them not wanting to be willing enough to answer the door to talk to someone when they come in and knock on the door at their property. So I think that one we're stuck with at this point in time. And we are going to continue to go through the process, just as we should. But in the meantime, he's going to be collecting and putting junk out there just as he had been doing all along, and never taking it to be scrapped out or sold for scrap, and just hoarding it on his property. And that's the way it looks. So that's where we're at. I would like an approval, though, from the board today to go ahead and authorize the treasurer to place on taxes monies that have been spent on these 3 properties, and do that this coming August for the September tax bill.
So moved.
I'll second it. So that motion, did you get that, Melissa?
Yes,
Boy,
sure they did.
yes.
because I
Okay,
got that.
so, Drish, did the,
I got it.
okay. Thanks. Okay,
We need to vote.
right. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your work on that.
Yep.
Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I would move to adjourn.
Second that motion.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Should I see a shot?
We will be meeting tomorrow morning. It will not be on Zoom, but we will be at the Public Health Department meeting with the public health staff. And then on Wednesday, we'll be meeting at 2 p.m. at the County Road Department so that we can meet with the new county engineer and or a
Applicant.
prospective county engineer. So, all right, thank you.